I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful cone panel, cone peplum, circle peplum, any how you want to call it, a peplum, a panel, a circle panel, a cone peplum. For tops, it could be sewn for tops, for dresses, for as a skirt. So I'll be showing you how I achieve this, how I cut it. Okay, so I want to show you how the drawing is. It's a simple drawing. It's just the measurement that makes it look difficult, but the drawing is very simple. It's like I'm going to be making 2 of these drawings with these 2 papers here. Okay, all right, these 2 papers are what I'm going to use to show you the drawing. So it's very simple. Before we take measurements, let me just show you. It's just you take a small part here and you draw it there. Of course with measurements, but I just want to show you what we're trying to look for. Okay, this is for a wide cone. Okay, for a wide cone, cone peplum. Okay, whilst what I'm going to be doing here is, I'm going to explain it very well, but let me just show you. I'm not using measurements, so I'm just trying to give you a picture of what we're looking for. Okay, you can see there's a difference between this and this. It can also even be tinier from this angle like this. It just depends. Now, what's the difference between these 2? They are still both going to be used for cone peplum. The difference is that one here is smaller on this angle and one here is bigger. That's because if you want a wider or a bigger cone peplum, you use this style, and if you want it to be tinier like this, depending on what you want to use it for, if you are going for a bigger peplum like on a panels, on a skirt, for like a skirt, this is what is mostly used. For a peplum top, it just depends on what you are looking for. So now this is based on the waist measurement. It depends on how many you want to make. So if you're going to, let's say, use something like this measurement here, maybe you will need like maybe 15. This can maybe use 10 of this when you carve it out. So now let's get straight into the measurement. I just want to show you what we are about to achieve. This is what all this measurement we want to do is to achieve these drawings. Okay, it could be smaller. Okay, it could be a smaller one, okay, with a smaller mouth, depending on how many you want to use. So for this one here, this is what it will end up coming out looking like. Okay, then for this one, this is what you should expect from any cloth you are trying to do. And for this particular shape, this is what you're going to expect. So when you're done, it's for you to carve it. So I'm going to be using a pattern paper, and we're going to be showing you this. Okay, when you carve it out, this is what you're looking at. Okay, and you're going to carve out like up to 10 or 15 of this. Okay, now remember, this is for the wider one. Okay, pattern paper, and I want to use a measuring the cone peplum with this. So for this pattern paper, okay, I want to do a short peplum. You have to use a pattern paper or a tailor paper to be able to cut out for your top or dress. But I want to do a short peplum, and I'm using the waist measurement of my mannequin. Okay, so you use the waist measurement divided by how many cones you want to do. Okay, the waist measurement divided by, you want to do 10 cones, use that to measure the waist measurement. That's this part of it. Use divided by how many cones. So waist measurement divided by this part of it. This is going to be part of the waist. So if you're doing a smaller, mouth shape, a smaller mouth shape from here, then it has to be more cones. So if it's 20 cones, then it's 20 divided by this. Okay, 20 cones for the waist measurement divided by 20. That will give you what you will use here. Okay, so for this pattern paper, I'm going to be doing 10, I'm going to be 10 inches by 8, 10 inches wideness by 8 length. That I'm going to do 10 inches here. This is going to be the waist side, and this is going to be the length, which is going to be 8 inches. So for me to do that, let me show you what I'm doing. First of all, I'm going to mark 10 inches. Okay, 10 inches. If you can see, okay, 10 inches. Sorry, 10 inches here. This is where 10 is. So I am going to mark this point. Am I right? Yes. I'm going to mark, and I'm going to give it a straight line down here. Okay, then I'm going to make a waist. That's for the waist measurement, and then that is for one cone. For one cone, then I'm going to take another down to 8 because the short cone depends on the length of the cone you are doing panel. Whether it is for a skirt, then it's longer. If it's for a dress, down part of the dress, then it depends on what length you're looking at. So this is going to be 8. Okay, and so I marked here, you can see. Okay, so I said I marked here, I took 8 for the length of the skirt. This is skirt of the cone. Okay, so I took 8 and I marked it here to cut out the shape of this place so that I know what exactly I'm working with. But before then, I'm going to mark 8 here again, down here. You can see 8 here is to cut it out so that I can work with it. Okay, you have to use your ruler when you're dotting your lines to cut out. Okay, so if you're doing a cloth, of course you just need one comb to cut out the rest of the clothes. You don't have to cut out this one is just for illustration purpose that I'm using. I'm going to do 6 paper cones. You don't need 6 paper cones. What you need is one paper cone, and then you use it to trace, the cloth that you want to cut out. Okay. I'm just trying to trace out the place I'm going to cut out from. So this is what we are going to be working with. This is the length for me, and this is the width for me, which is what I want to use as waist because of for a peplum top. Okay, so now for us to do this, let's do it. Where's my tape? Okay, for us to do this, you're going to measure. Now because it's 10, I want to take 3 inches from the beginning and 3 inches from the end to mark the point that I want to cut the cone from. Okay, now this is dependent on how the size of the panel or cone, it's all dependent on the size of the panel or the cone that you want to. So this is 3 inches left and 3 inches right. Okay, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do, since the length is 8, for me to draw down this part, let me show you. This is what I marked just now. Okay, this part here is what I marked just now. I marked 3 inches, okay, and 3 inches off. Okay, and this is how wide my panel waist length is going to be like, and this is divided by how many, this will determine how many cones I will do by the time I'm done. Okay, so now I want to do this part from here to this point. Remember, it is not to the end here. Okay, it's from here to this point. So I'm going to give 1.5 inches gap since our length was 8. Okay, so we're going to give 6. We're going to use 6.5. That's 1.5 inches. 6/8 minus 6 minus 1.5 inches is 6.5. So I'm taking 6.5 here. So you can see I have 6.5 here at this point, and another on this other side 6.5. Okay, you can see I marked it. Can you see? Let me bring it closer. I'm feeling like people are not seeing a bit more. Okay, now I think it's better. So I said to get this point to this point, this whole length, that is, take for example, this is 8 inches. Okay, this is 8 inches, and from here to here I minus 1.5 inches. So my cone is going to go like this. Okay, now so I mark this point so that I can tell where I'm going to draw this side. Okay, so with that I'm just going to draw a straight line on this point. I'm going to dot it first and draw. Okay, it's that simple. That simple. And then I'm going to draw from here. Okay, sorry, from here to, not from there, it's to this point here where my cone ends. Okay, this is where the point my cone ends. I'm going to do the same to this other side. Remember, it depends on how many cones you're using and how wide and how, whatever you're looking for, it just depends on it. Okay, so whatever you're using it for, you could be using it for a skirt. I'm drawing wrongly again. Okay, that's why a ruler is better for this, because what I'm using is blocking. I couldn't find my ruler. Alright, so I've drawn that. You can just draw your line here, no special anything there. And I've gotten the triangle I need, which is this part here. Okay, and then now is to do a circle. If you have a circle ruler, you can do it, but you're going to, for me, I'm just going to use my hand, and I have to make sure they are equal. I want to start with a dot line. Sorry. To be sure if it's exactly what I want. This looks okay. Somehow okay. Okay, so alright, so I'm just going to draw it. If you want to do a pattern, you can still use a pencil, so that in case you didn't get this dotted part well, this circular part well, sorry, you can just erase it and start again. So don't follow me to use a pen, use a pencil. That's what I would advise you to do, so that you know where you're making your mistakes from. So now, as you can see, I'm drawing it out to give that cone shape. Okay, now this is what we are working with. This is what we're working with, as you can see, to give it a cone shape. Alright, our panel is actually going to be big. Okay, our panel is going to be big panel. That's why it's wide. If you want it smaller, you can maybe take in 4 inches out and maybe 4 inches or 5 inches, not 5 inches actually. You can take 4 inches out. If you take 4 inches out, like now I took 3 inches, what is left here is 4 inches, 4 point something inches. Okay, so I took almost about 4 inches was what is here. Now if you take I want to be sure I'm at 3. Okay, yeah. If you take 4 inches, you have 2 inches for the waist or for the upper parts. Okay, so it depends on what you want. Okay, so now this is what we're working with, and it's for us to carve it out and then use it to carve out the rest. Okay, so I've carved it out and this is what it is looking like. Okay, this is what it's looking like. I'm going to use it. You're supposed to use this to carve out your cloth, okay, but I'm going to use it to carve out the rest of the cardboard. You're supposed to use it to carve your cloth. I'm going to use it to cut out the rest of the pattern paper, okay, the rest of the pattern paper, to show you what it will eventually look like. Okay, so I'm going to use it and I'm going to trace it on my pattern paper. Okay, I'm going to trace it. This should give me about 6 of it, and then I'm going to trace another pattern paper that will give me another 6. I want to do 12 or thereabouts, I think. All right. Okay, I'm basically just trimming this place. Tracing out. So I've done them like that. Before going forward, you have to kind of make it cone look so that it will be fine. So for me to do that, I'm going to just take it out like this. Now, because it's a paper, it's easier. When you're using your material, okay, when you're using your material, you're going to, you would have sewn it to the, gummed it to the gum stay, okay. If you are not using gum stay, then you must be using crinoline, and crinoline you don't need to do this thing I'm about to do now. But if you're using a very soft gum stay, then you need to add crinoline. If you're using the medium or the strong, you need to do this. If you're using the medium, it's good to use one on the material and another on the lining, okay, because it will be two sides, one gum stay on the material, one on the lining. When you are done, doing each of them, when you gummed it together, you just have to try to give it that cone look. Have to fold it, because now it will be strong enough for you to fold like this in a round shape. Okay, just fold it like a cone like this, and then it will give you this cone look, such that by the time you sew it together, it will, it will look like a cone. Okay. Don't forget, you do this after you have put your gum stay on your clothes, okay, on your cloth. The gum stay will be able to allow you to fold it and to stay in this shape, okay. Okay, so you can see our cone. This is 10. What I want to use is 10 for this particular fold. It's actually going to be on the mannequin body. So this is how you achieve it. This is what it looks like, okay, so that you are aware of what it ends up looking like when you are done. So now I want to sew the edges of each of them together to the other edge. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and then sew it and show you, okay. All right, I'm going to be sewing them at the back. We've held the two together, okay. You confuse it, And I'm going to take it by ½ inch or less than ½ inch. So I sewed it together. As you can see, I sewed the edges here and the edges here and the edges here, as you can see. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Okay, so like this. Okay, so let's see what this turns out to look like. Okay. Masking tape to tape the back, because of course you know it's a pattern paper, so I want to use masking tape. Normally you're supposed to sew it to show you. This is what our cone peplum circle panel, anyhow you want to call it, this is what it looks like. Okay, and you can see how cone, it looks. If you want it to be finer, you just pack it, make it fuller and all that. This is what it turned out to look like. So this is your cone peplum. This is what it looks like. You can see how coney it is. It's just like cones, okay? And it can be used for a skirt, anything at all, for a peplum, for a dress, and anyhow you want to you do it. And for you to stand, you use gum stay or crinoline or both. Okay, if your gum stay is soft, you use crinoline. Crinoline is for mostly dresses, so that the dresses will not be hard on the ground down. Okay,